Hey y'all and welcome. My name is Meg and it's April. So a new month means a new book haul and I have some books to show you. I think I said in my February haul that March would be a lot more relaxed and I might even just do an Instagram for the books that I bought. There were more pre-orders than I thought. That's sort of my excuse for March. And what else? I went on one of my bookstore adventures for a bookstore in the surrounding areas, and also a surprise I didn't know was happening until maybe a week ahead of time. A brand new bookstore opened very close by, so I had to go check it out on opening day, and I might have supported them a little bit. With that being said, I'm going to start off with pre-orders. There were more of those than I thought, like I said before, so I'm going to jump right into those. First up is Story of My Life by Lucy Score. This has been described as Gilmore Girls meets Schitt's Creek, I believe. I'm not a big fan of things being described as Gilmore Girls meets whatever, but I do like Schitt's Creek, and I think what we have going on here in this story is a writer, a rom-com specifically writer, who is having a bit of writer's block, and if she doesn't deliver something, she's cut off. So she moves to this small town. I believe she buys a house in the middle of the night on the internet. I didn't know that was a thing you could do. And yeah, she moves to this small town. She meets a very grumpy contractor and renovates this house. And maybe the grumpy contractor gives her some inspiration. I don't know. It kind of sounds like other Lucy Score books though, because I believe in Maggie Moves On, it's about renovation. And then what was the other one I read? The Christmas Fix? I think that's about a TV show that renovates houses. Lucy Score is a reno babe. She loves renovations, and I don't get it. We're renovating our main bathroom right now, and I hate the whole process. Anyhow, it sounds really good. It's beautiful. Look at those sprayed edges. They're ooh, very pretty. I love the blues, and I do look forward to reading this. Next on the pre-order train is The Last Murder at the End of the World by Stuart Turton. I have read two other Stuart Turton books, and I really liked one. The other was sort of for me. So I'm looking forward to this. I do think it also has mixed reviews, but that will not deter me. This is about a kind of island in post-apocalyptic Earth, and the leaders of this society living on this island are scientists, and they're quite old. I think something about the disaster that struck there's this mist, this fog that has descended, and it kills whoever it touches. So this island is devoid of the fog, right? But these scientists have something about them that makes them live longer. And the other people who live on the island, maybe, I think they die at exactly 60, and they know they're going to die at 60. It's all very odd. So they seem to be existing in relative harmony. They go about their normal lives, fishing and farming for food. They follow their curfews. Everything is just sort of status quo, right? But one day, one of the scientists is murdered, and I believe they have to figure out who did it. This is very Stuart Turton. They have to figure out who did it in a certain amount of time, or the fog will descend on the island and just kill everybody. I don't know, it sounds pretty good to me. This is, like I said, very Stuart Turton. We have a mystery to solve. We have a time frame it needs to be solved in. I'm sure a wide cast of characters, and it'll probably be really good. This is not technically a new release. I know I said it's a pre-order. I just pre-ordered it for the paperback, and it also has sprayed edges, which I did not realize at the time. It has these really pretty sprayed edges with the lighthouse on it. It's quite nice. And yeah, like I said, I look forward to getting to it at some point. I believe this is a Barnes & Noble pre-order, and this is the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. That title for me is such a mouthful, and I think I was calling it the Strawberry Stack Pancake House at one point. It's a lot. This is book 4 in the Dream Harbor series, and it follows Iris and Archer. Iris is a town local. Archer is here to build a relationship with his daughter that he just found out about. He was unaware that she existed. Her mother has tragically passed away, and he is now going to be her guardian. He's also a very famous chef, or at least a very successful chef. I don't know. I have already read this. It was an for me. Iris becomes Archer's live-in nanny, and there's sort of this insta lust. And I feel personally in these situations that that doesn't really build a foundation for a relationship. I can't really understand why they work so well, why they fall in love with each other. Like, what do they have in common? What are they doing together on the weekend? What jokes are they laughing at? I don't really know. I don't get that from this. It was fun. It was like a little, foot kicker, like, ooh, good time. One other thing, though, that really pulled me out of the story was little baby Olive. She is 5 years old and she talks like she's 13, and I have a really hard time with that. If you've ever been around nieces, nephews, friends' kids, worked in a daycare, I don't know, had young cousins, you kind of know that a 5-year-old doesn't talk like this. So it just really pulled me out of the story at times, and I had to keep reminding myself of her age and what was really happening here. It was fine. It's cute. I'm really here for Mac and Annie's story, which is coming up next in September. So I'll continue to read these and collect them. They're fun, but they're kind of the type of romance that sometimes irks me about the genre. Next up is Save Your Breath by Candy Steiner. This is book 4 in the Kings of the Ice series, which is a series of interconnected standalones. So you could technically read this without having read the others, but there are characters obviously from the other books that will show up here. Characters in this book might feature in a future book. So in this installment, we have a fake engagement hockey romance. I love Candy Steiner books. I've always been a big fan of hers. I think the very first book in this series kind of pushed me into romance along with like Lillian Monroe. I digress. So we have this sort of arrangement, and what happens is the couple, while they're fake coupling, gets stuck in a penthouse during a hurricane, and that's when the sparks fly. This also I've seen is described as like unrequited love, they think. So I think they've both kind of been in love with each other for maybe a long time, but it just never clicked. And friends to lovers with me is difficult sometimes, but I know I'm going to love this because it's Candy and Candy does no wrong. So I'm really looking forward to this. More than what I described to you, I don't really want to know. I want to be surprised. I want to be like dragged into the story. I don't want to go into it with too many preconceived notions. So that's why I just have a little blurb on this. My final pre-order is Inspector Imanashi Investigates. This is, again, not a new book. It is just this version. This is just the Penguin Modern Classics version that I think was re-released. I did get this from Blackwell's in the UK, and I'm not sure if it was a new version for them, and that's why it was considered a pre-order. All of that aside, it's gorgeous. It's a Japanese translation, which I'm super into. And here we have 1960s Tokyo, a dead guy on the train tracks, and Inspector Imanashi. Now, the man is found completely unrecognizable. His face has been quite damaged, we're told. And there are some clues, but none of them seem to really hook up together. And this is kind of the tale of Inspector Imanashi going back into that cold case, trying to put all of his facts together and come to a conclusion. Based on the description, it's giving me a little bit of like Hercule Poirot vibes. It feels Agatha Christie, The Time, The Train probably is like a big one on that. So I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm very excited to have like this beautiful version in my library. Okay, next I mentioned that I did go to a brand new bookstore that just opened here in the Atlanta area. It's actually in the city of Smyrna, if you're familiar. And the bookshop is called Sincerely Yours. I believe they opened March 8th on a Saturday. And I just happened to go in there. My poor husband was with me, and he did say the couches were good. They had 2 couches in there, so he was able to like chill. As long as there's somewhere for him to sit, he's good. He can sit, he can be on his phone, and I will shop. So anyway, I did grab a few things while I was in there because I couldn't help but support a local business, right? And the first thing I got was this really cute croissant bookmark. This is by Electric Feels. I believe you can get these on Etsy. So if I can find the link for it, I'll put it in the description in the bio, but I just thought it was too cute, and I love collecting bookmarks. They were also giving away their sticker, their store sticker, for free that day, which is really cute. And I got another sticker. This is, I believe the designer is Soup Turtle or Turtle Soup, something like that. But this is just like a little, the Little Mermaid. What is it? turtlessoup.com. So you could buy these online if you wanted one, and I will link it below if I can find it. The last non-book thing that I got in there was this little notepad by Pippi Post, and it just says things to fetch, and it has like the little wiener dog on there. So it was inexpensive, and I love wiener dogs, so I had to get it. Now for the books. It was a madhouse in there, which is great to see that so many people came out to support them, but it was a little hard to maneuver. All of the blind dates for the book were sold out, so I'm really looking forward to going back and hopefully snagging one of those. They were beautiful, but like they had one of those spinny bookshelves full of them. I got there at 2 o'clock. They opened at 11, dead empty. That thing was wrecked. Okay, so I did pick up 3 books though. Don't say anything. Don't say a peep. I got this. It's book 3 in the Rose Hill series. I haven't read any of the other ones. I think there's a masked wrestler in this. Beyond that, I don't know. It's green. It's gorgeous. It matches my other spines. It's going to go on the shelf, and one day I'll read all of the Elsie Silver, and I will be vindicated for buying all of these. That's it. That's all I've got. I'm sorry. Next up is Puck and Prejudice. Small story time. The bookstore where I bought this, Sincerely Yours, is actually doing this as their first store book club pick. And while I was too slow to sign up for that first event, I kept kind of checking back randomly, and a spot opened up. So I'm actually going this Sunday to discuss this book. I have not read it yet. Again, don't say anything. Okay, I'll get it done. I'll get it done. It's Thursday today. The book club is Sunday. I understand. I'll get it done. Don't worry. Here we have this sweet angel hockey player. I think he's a goalie. He is benched for an injury. So he goes to visit his sister in England. He takes a plunge into a pond. Somehow he ends up in Regency era England. He meets our girl Lizzie. She's very much like a Jane Austen style heroine, wants to be independent, very well read, feisty lady. And they get fake engaged, which maybe turns into real engaged. Which century will they decide to live in? I don't know, but I'm going to find out in the next 3 days. Sounds great. Last up in Sincerely Yours, I grabbed Paladin's Grace. This is book 1 in a series of, I believe, 4 books total in this series, but it also lives in the world of The Clockwork Boys and Swordheart. Now, a paladin, I was not aware, is kind of like a knight. So we're following Paladin Stephen, whose god has died, and he's just sort of looking for purpose in life until he dies. Sounds kind of tragic. He ends up teaming up with a fugitive called Grace, and then I think adventure and romance ensues. I've heard nothing but great things about this book. I love the covers, and I'm probably at the point in my T. Kingfisher journey that when I see a book she's written that I do not own, I'm just going to buy it. I'm not going to be taking any questions at this time on that decision, but yeah, like that's the decision I've made at this point. So there's more Teen Kingfisher coming. I delight to tell you there's more Teen Kingfisher coming. All right, next up was my adventure to another local-ish bookstore. This bookstore is called The Crazy Book Lady. I did get like a free bookmark in there if it's gonna focus. It's so cute. And she has 2 cats, 2 black cats that roam around the store. Very cute. Very adorable. And this bookstore is mostly used books. There were some newer books scattered in there, but it's mostly used. Before we could even make it in the front door, we were stopped by these armoires filled with used books, and one of them was absolutely chocked filled with these old recipe books. Now, I'm not sure if this is a Southern thing or even just like a small town thing or a 1980s thing, but I have always seen these recipe books that were created by like church groups, women's groups. I am, of course, talking about these recipe collections. So here I have Taste of the Tri-State, Home Cooking with a Dash of White Valley's History. So this is a church. I'm not sure how this one was created. What does it say? a collection of favorite recipes from our employees. And if you're not familiar, the tri-state down here is Georgia, Florida, Alabama. Not New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. I can guarantee you that. So I did get a few of those. I also got this one is a real chunker. And this is from the women on an Air Force base. But it's just, if you've never seen one, they're very interesting collections of recipes. And usually it will tell you, oh my God, I'm obsessed. It'll tell you like who the recipe came from. So you really had to bring your game if you were going to put a recipe in one of these books, because everybody was going to be trying it. And if you put in a stinker, it would ruin your rep. She was selling these for $1 each. I believe I got 6 or 7 of them. I could not resist. My great aunt had a huge collection of these. After she passed, they all sort of disappeared. Nobody knows exactly who got them. And I was a little devastated. So I'm building my own little collection of these guys. And I was so happy to find them. I think I got, like I said, maybe 6 or 7. And my mother-in-law got like 6 or 7. So we're going to share, compare, trade. I don't know, but so happy to have these. Another thing I found while I was in the Crazy Book Lady is this wild Hungarian language book. It is called Learn Hungarian. I believe it's from 1965. I love it. It makes me so happy. 1965. Yeah, you can see. Maybe if it will focus. 1965. So I always look for like Hungarian guidebooks in the travel section, Hungarian language books in different bookstores, new, used, whatever. I'm just always looking. Now, will I use this to actually learn any Hungarian? Probably not. It's been 9 years. I know hi, bye, some swears, and how to answer very basic questions. I know how to ask for the restroom as well. Otherwise, I don't think I'm ever going to be fluent. I'm going to keep trying. I think this is just such a cool little time capsule of Hungarian culture. Another little find from those outdoor armoires is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. I have only heard good things about this book, but I never quite knew what it was about. And from what I can tell, it's a fictionalized retelling of Shakespeare's son, Hamnet, and his short life and early death. I think he was only 11, which is very sad. But I've heard great things about it. And it was one of those, like, I saw it. I knew I had just heard somebody talking about it. And I can't remember who, of course, but I just heard somebody kind of talking about it and what a great book it was. Again, $1. So I grabbed it. I think it's in great shape. The spine is broken. Doesn't bother me at all. That's just something that has never really bothered me. I think some of the pages have been dog-eared at some point, but again, I don't mind. I think it's in wonderful shape for a used book. Last up is Dragon Drums by Anne McCaffrey. This is book 3 in the Harper Hall series. I have book 1 of the Dragon Riders of Pern, and I thought they were connected because of the names. I got confused. So Anne McCaffrey has sort of a prolific mix of these dragon books in different series. I don't know how they connect, if they connect, but I have read a couple of hers before and I do remember quite liking them. So I was in a used bookstore. I didn't have a list. I was letting the vibes take over. I saw it and I thought, oh, that's got to be in my Dragonflight series. No, it is not. No, but I have it. It's really cute. I'm gonna call this next section of the video T. Kingfisher. It's just gonna be T. Kingfisher books. There are 3 of them. That makes 4 total for the month. So first up is The Clockwork Boys. From what I can tell, again, I keep saying from what I can tell, because with a lot of these books, I don't want to know a lot about them. I want to be surprised. I want to be pulled in. I don't want to think that I know what's going to happen and then maybe be thrown for a loop if the book doesn't go exactly that way. I'm experiencing that with a book now that I thought I knew so much about. I started reading it and it's going a much different direction, and it kind of threw me in the beginning. So I just want to go into a book enjoying it. That being said, from what I can tell, this is about a very ragtag group of criminals plus a scholar, maybe he's not a criminal, I don't know, who are trying to get to the bottom of these clockwork boys that have shown up in their town. And they're these sort of like robot soldiers that have the ability to destroy their whole town. So I think they go on a journey, kind of a quest, to get to the bottom of this. This is the first in a duology and is in the same world as Swordheart and what was the other one I just said? Paladin's Grace, that sort of series. So that's like 7 books total, and I believe we're getting another in the Swordheart collection in that little grouping next year, and it's called Dagger something Dagger. I know everything, can you tell? So anyway, super excited to have it. Love it. Little fantasy number, very described as like steampunk fantasy, so we'll see. The Hollow Places. I read this as a buddy read on Instagram with like a very small group of girls. It was very fun. We've not like had a proper discussion about it, but we did sort of live chat about some aspects, some of the creepier stuff. But there's one thing in this book that I haven't been able to talk about with anyone, and I'm like dying to get to it. So obviously I have read this. I got it for that, and I loved it. I did absolutely devour it. It has this type of pacing, which the book that inspired this is also in this haul, so I'm gonna speak similarly about that one. But the pacing is really interesting here because it just makes you want to keep going and find out what's gonna happen next. How is it all gonna end? What's the conclusion here? How are we sewing this up nicely? But in this book, we do have, I believe, a 35-year-old woman coming out of a divorce, a little listless, and she has moved into her uncle's oddity shop. Now, this is just providing an escape for her to get away. It's not like she's desperate for the job. She does have some other options that she does on the side. I believe like web design or something. God, I swear I just read this. I swear I did. Anyway, she's just there to kind of help out her, you know, aged uncle in his curiosity shop. And if you've ever been to like a small town where there's a gas station or a general store that boasts that they have a real life mermaid skeleton or something like that, this is the vibe I'm getting here. It's very funny because the main character sort of describes it as like these oddities, but then you turn everything over and it says made in China. It's like none of it is authentic. And it's just kind of a bunch of junk. But there are some pieces like from her childhood that she remembers. Specifically, there is a taxidermied animal that is very near and dear to her heart. There is a good bit of taxidermy in here, actually, which I guess can freak some people out. What ensues here is that her uncle ends up having to have surgery. So he's gone off to the big city, right? And she's still in this small town mystery museum. And she's running the museum, running the store. And one day she discovers a hole in the wall upstairs. And she thinks a guest must have punched a hole in the wall with their elbow, something like that. And didn't say anything. So she's kind of annoyed, right? And she calls over the neighbor to be like, hey, do you think you could fix this? Well, expecting to just see wall or studs or insulation, they find a pathway, a sort of corridor, and decide to see where it leads. And at some point they realize, like, gosh, we would be over the middle of the street right now in this corridor with as far as we've come. This doesn't make any sense. They find a room with a skeleton. They find another door that leads them out to this lake. And they're on an island in the lake. And there are hundreds of identical islands, seemingly leading to alternate worlds. They do go out onto other islands to explore. Things happen. It's wild. It is creepy. It is bone chilling. It's also really funny. There will be a moment where you are just like, your skin is crawling, and then they'll throw out a one-liner and you're just chuckling and immediately like, okay, I'm off my guard. I'm good now. So I can't rave enough about this and really any of T. Kingfisher's books, but this specifically in March was such a sweet spot of horror, comedy, adventure, almost like sci-fi too, with the alternate worlds and stuff. Like, just very interesting. Absolutely loved it. Highly recommend. All right, and the last of my T. Kingfisher little bookies is The Seventh Bride. Again, I don't want to know too much about this because I do know it's a Bluebeard retelling. Our main character is Rhea. She's 15. She is like a miller's daughter. A lord approaches her, wants to marry her. She's like, wait, what? I'm nobody. And this rich guy wants to marry me. So, like I said, it's a Bluebeard retelling. Because I know that, I'd rather go into this as blank as possible. But another one that I didn't have that I wanted to get. And Bluebeard happens to be one of my very favorite fables. I love when people do retellings of Bluebeard. I think it's so fun. It's so creepy. You know what's going to happen, but you can't look away. It's just really good. So I'm looking forward to this one a lot as well. This last section of the video, I'm going to call miscellaneous influences. I'm calling it that because I was either influenced by somebody, I don't know, on Instagram, TikTok, another book, or what else? No, I think that's it. Oh, Barnes & Noble influenced me on one of these. That's right. Okay, so first up, we have The Willows by Algernon Blackwood. This is the book that inspired T. Kingfisher to write The Hollow Places. This is a very short tale. It's really good. I talked about it a little bit more in my books under 250 pages, my like short book video, and I absolutely loved it. Also, the cover is brilliant on this edition. It's very small, but this is an edited version, so there's more context and footnotes here. The footnotes add more context to the story. I don't know that it needs that, but I love this. This also has illustrations in it, I just remembered. Okay, so quickly, this is about two dudes in like 1906, I think, that are going down the Danube River in Europe just because, I mean, I don't know, I guess they didn't have anything else to do, but they were exploring. And at some point, they cross over into this like alternate universe. They're pushed up against an alternate universe. Something is going on, and it's creepy and it's weird. And one of them is kind of like, I can explain everything away. The other guy's like, dude, you have an answer for everything, and that ain't it. Something malevolent is behind this. Something odd is behind this. And basically, okay, so both of them are unnamed dudes. Like we have the Englishman and the Swede. And the Swede is like, something is going on. And the Englishman's like, Piff, it's just the wind. Oh, it's just this. That thing that looks like a bloated dead body was just an otter playing in the river. It's weird. It is very creepy. It has that same type of pacing where you just want to find out what's next, what's going to happen. How do we come to the end of this tale? It is beautifully weird. Look at these birds. I'm obsessed with the illustrations here, and I especially love the otters on the cover. Again, back to the hollow places, like the otters play a big part. So it's just very interesting. It's very creepy, chilling. I loved it. I absolutely devoured it. So again, yes, I have already read it. Highly recommend. This is my Barnes & Noble influence. When I pre-ordered the Strawberry Patch Pancake, blah, 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 Barnes & Noble is offering this for $5 to go along with it, and it is another translation. So I took them up on that offer, and it arrived. It is If Cass Disappeared from the World. This is about another unnamed protagonist. He is a postman. He's 30 years old. He goes to the doctor because he's not feeling well, only to find out that he's basically terminal and doesn't have very long to live. So it's quite a shock to him, but he goes home, and upon arriving home to his companion, a cat named Cabbage, very cute, the devil is there, and the devil's like, hey, so actually, you're gonna die tomorrow, but if you get rid of one thing, I'll give you another day to live. Like one thing from the whole world. So we go through, I think about a week is the timeline here of him getting rid of things, seeing how that affects his life, but also the world at large. And it does get a bit repetitive, but overall, I really enjoyed it. I'm very glad to have it and to have finished it already. But yeah, I mean, it feels very in that vein of just exploring the human condition and what it is to be alive, especially in a society at large. So enjoyed it. Next up is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. Reagan at the Peruse Project has talked about this duology several times lately, and I believe this was in a deal of buy a 3 for $2, buy two, get one free kind of thing on Amazon. And so when I was looking for that second, third, whatever book to add, and this was on there, I had to grab it. I don't know much more about it than this. It's an epic fantasy featuring two outcasts who are kind of thrown into this world of dangerous magic and secrets, and stuff happens. Like I said, this is a duology, so there's a second book. I believe it's called The Rag Picker King. It's blue, it's beautiful, just like this one is beautiful. And this is thicker than a Snicker, so I'm a little scared to start it. But knowing that there's only 2 books in the series and that both of those books are out, that's like a huge incentive to get started, get through it. I'm sure it'll be great. I like Reagan's recommendations a lot, and she reads so much fantasy that if she's recommending something, it's got to be good. Also, if you like floppy books, this has got to be one of the floppiest I've ever flopped. It's good, right? Like, it's really good. So there's that one. We are coming to the end. Strange Weather in Tokyo. I've heard several people talk about this, probably most recently Alice at the Book Castle. And this is about a 30-year-old woman who runs into her former teacher one evening in a bar. And then they continue to spend more time together. I believe they even go on a trip together. I can't tell if this turns into something. Some of the blurbs make it seem like maybe it does. And some just say like this is a really wholesome tale about loneliness and friendship. But I have also heard it described as very weird or odd and beautiful. And I love an odd book. I love weird fiction. So it's also translation. Were you waiting? Were you waiting for that to come? It is also a translation. So it's just add it to the pile, right? The final book in this haul is Perfume. And this is in the same vein of like that weird fiction and sort of sinister undertones. So what we have here is a man with an extraordinary sense of smell who becomes a perfumer, and he lets his obsession with developing these unique fragrances devolve into madness, something sinister, and he turns to murder. It sounds amazing. This is another, I think, Alice suggestion or Alice influence purchase. It is also, I did not realize this until it came, part of the Penguin Modern Classics. So it's going to match that Inspector Imanashi Investigates. And I think I have 1984 coming in that same format. They're beautiful. The spines all match like this beautiful blue, I don't know, what do they call it? Like robin's egg blue. And I just think it's great to have those. I like unique copies of things, obviously, but I just think this sounds fantastically weird and creepy and maybe a little bit like skin crawly, which I absolutely adore. Can't wait. Alrighty, so that's everything I bought in the month of March. I make no promises for April. I will say nothing for April except that I'm going on another bookstore adventure with my mom this time. We are going up to Rome, Georgia to see River and Hill Books, and I believe there's a used bookstore up there as well, but I can't really track down if they're going to be open that day. So we'll definitely hit River and Hill. There's like some cute coffee shops, bakeries, general stores also in the area that I'm really excited to check out. I'm also thinking about vlogging that trip. I've never really done, I mean, I did like the bookshelf progress, but it wasn't quite a vlog. We'll just see, like, whatever turns out. It might be wholly awkward and just devoid of content, but I'll try. So anyway, guys, thank you so much. If you saw something here that you liked, don't worry. I've put all the links below. You can easily find each book that I mentioned in the format that I mentioned, the special version, whatever, special printing, everything will be there exactly as you saw it here. And yeah, I just really appreciate you watching another one of these videos. I like to do hauls. Obviously, I like to buy books, but I'm going to try to diversify my content a little bit more, hence the vlog, hence the, baby book review, and just see where it goes. But I do appreciate all of you that show up and watch. It means the world to me. So have a great day. Until next time. Bye.